Hello there, Captain Prairie here. Well, fiddle. I just did a cold start on the Jeep, and I mean, it seemed to be idling okay, but just having a tough time with the choke, with it running while it's until it warms up. A couple of things I noticed. I did check this vacuum thing here, so I pulled. I'll just do it. Pulled this off. Put my finger over there, push that down, you can hear it, and it'll stay. And then you can see it go back. So that part is working, and there was air coming out of this, or a vacuum in that there, so that's good. If you look at this here, the butterfly never closes. It'll get to about here, and it never really closes, but when it's cold, it runs really well, closed or darn near closed. And if we look over here, this is the electronic choke. And I think it always has that much play in there. There shouldn't be that much play in there, I don't think. Couple other things I noticed. I don't think that the accelerator pump is working. It's hard to start right away. It's just tough. I finally just put a little fuel down the yap there, and it started right away. But if you look down in there with light, so I can make this happen, and you push the throttle, it's supposed to shoot some fuel in there, and it's not doing that. So basically I'm going to have to take the carburetor off. I don't think that I'm going to redo the whole thing. I'm just going to do a couple of things. There are a couple of things that I've noticed, or that I've read and watched online and in Jeep forums, what folks do. One is called the Nutter Bypass, which I will call the litmus configuration. Basically what that is there is an, down here under this bottle of the coolant is a ECU, I think, for the motor. And there's what everybody says, or I've seen it on several different locations. There's a purple and an orange wire, and we'll probably see it right here. Yep, there's a purple and an orange wire coming off the distributor. It says cut these, and then basically run a wire, those two wires, from there up around, and cut those under the bottle over there and splice them. And that supposedly takes care of so people are having the same issues with this Carter carburator than I'm having. It sputters, hard to start, won't idle right. Another thing that you have to do is take this stepper motor out. I think it's called a stepper motor, and you have to adjust the needles in here to the right width, 1/8 inch or something like that, and then leave this disconnected. What that does, from what I'm told and read, is that as it warms up and cools off and everything, those needles will move in and out, and that keeps it. And because you're doing the bypass, that kind of renders that obsolete, maybe. Carter BBD carburator, what it is, I don't know. I haven't heard very many positive things about it, so I'm going to get to taking it apart. There's also two needles or valves or things in there that guys clean, and then I can, once I take it off, I can at least clean the outside, get it where I want it to look like, where it's decent looking. And then I can also clean top of the valve cover, which is filthy, and that bothers me. So we're just going to do that. That's the plan. So at the end of this video, I want it to be able to start right away, idle like it's supposed to, have no hesitation when you're giving it gas. It should run. And I want to drive this thing down to the filling station and top it off, because I imagine we're getting pretty close to fumes on this thing, which is as much as I've been starting it and trying to figure things out, and it's just not running right. The nutter bypass, or the litmus configuration, it supposedly takes out a lot of the emissions. Well, the way it's running right now, you can just smell it is terrible. It's worse now than if we can get it running right, it'll be a lot better for the emissions. And as much as I'd like to cut into that ozone layer to give us some more climate winners here, leave the emissions on, well, we're going to delete on those and go through some vacuum hoses where I can see them all, check everything out much closer by taking the carburetor off. So that's what we're going to do. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to film of me taking it off or working on it, but if there's something interesting, I'll bring you along. Well, that was surprisingly easy. I did chicken out, and I wrote down the the vacuum hoses that I took off and where they go. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. That was disturbingly easy. Look at down in there. I've never seen that before. That's pretty trippy. So I've got her over on the bench. This will also give me a little bit better opportunity to kind of follow some of these other vacuum hoses and so forth. So here it is. Now I don't know what to do from here, but I'm gonna probably do a lot of filming on this part of it, because it'll help me, even if I don't publish it, it'll help me when it comes time to put it back on. So I'll get you set up here and we'll start tearing into this. I should have gotten my readers, because there's some fine intricate work here that I'm going to need to do. Hazard of doing this with the carburetor on is you could drop these into the intake, and that's not good. This is just a little too big, I think. Let's see.
Well, shoot. There's one. Sitting on a 5-gallon pail like an ice fishing. There's that guy. Could use some cleaning. I'll have to remember that the numbers go up. And I'll put this with the two bolts I just took out. I don't have a parts cleaner. I don't have any way to clean this out. Like individual parts when I get them out, other than just spraying brake clean all over creation. There we go. Keep her off here. back on here so I don't lose it. Should come out, be out of our way, and I can clean that up with some brake cleaner and a little brush.
So I think what I'm taking out is these two here, and then I'll lift this whole thing out. The thing to be wary of is there's a check ball in there that if I leave it like this, it shouldn't fall out. So I'm going to be removing those two screws in there. They were not tight at all. And these metering rods or whatever they are, these are what they say that you need to clean out. So I'm going to set that off to the side for a second. And if you can see down in there, that center one right there, I hope you can see that. That's where that check ball is that you don't want to lose. So these are the guys that I need to clean out. I need to go get my readers so I can see what I'm doing. And then we'll kind of hose this off with some carb cleaner. I'll see if I can get this gasket off for now. What I hear tell is gaskets don't like carb cleaner. But I'm also not going to fight it. To where I'm going to rip it. Those little ports in there are what I need to clean out. So let me go get my magnifying reading glasses and we'll get onto that. Okay, got my glasses. I sprayed in there and used a tiny bristle out of this to kind of probe in there. It seems open. These are the Venturi something or other. The other thing I wanted to leg cramp to check on was the accelerator pump, which I think is in here. So I'm going to very gingerly take this apart. I got a feeling that I'm going to be wishing that I just did the entire carb kit right now. I got a feeling that that's what I'm gonna wish. And if I get taking this apart and it seems like it's really gooped up and so forth, then I will redo the whole thing. But I'm trying to do this with the least amount of pain. This is the needle and seat in here. Should spray that off a little bit. So I'm going to try taking this off and hope, beyond hope, the accelerator pump is under there. Because if I have to take this whole top part off, I think I'm getting in over my head. Quite possibly. Peligro. Nope. Gasket looks good. Actually looks pretty clean in there. I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to reinstall it. That stuff's really on there. I figure if I'm in this deep and I can clean anything I can, even though this is cosmetic, it makes me feel better. It's like a screen of sorts. Well, I'm putting this back on there. Already in over my head, doing more than I've ever done on a carburetor, so I have the manual up here to refer to. Everything in here looked to be A-okay from my perspective. Now if I take the top off, let's see what all I got to deal with. This screw, I should replace that. That's pretty foul. Four screws here. And hopefully that will give us access to Mr. Accelerator Pump. Now let's get me right into the bowl. Sure enough. Well, how do I get this doodab off here? That's opening up right to the bowl, but I've got to get this arm off of whatever that doohickey is. It's got another one of them funky clamps. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to get it very easily. Should have cleaned this son of a gun before I got this far. Nice fumes. Now I can see it. Smaller. Good content here, huh? This will be edited out, I hope. This would be a lot easier if I could see what I'm doing. A lot easier if I could see what I'm doing. There we go. Did I miss a screw? What am I fighting with over here? Good. There's the accelerator pump. And what am I hooked into over here? Right there. Actually looks good. I might just leave it. Actually looks pretty clean in there. Well, I don't know what to tell you, fellers. That accelerator pump looks like it's been replaced. I don't know. rid of these. Oh, that's pliable and everything. Good. Spray that all over myself. I'll set that aside for now. Now that I smell like brake cleaner, carb cleaner. Well, that actually looks like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Looks like there's a couple of jets in here I could maybe take out, but they look, from where I sit, they look like they're clear. Well, we're going to put her back together. All right, folks, it's been a few days, but it's time to put Mr. Carburator back on here. So, let's see. This gasket looks good. It's a little bit dry. All right, I'm going to drop this puppy in there. Oh, found the other wing nut for the air cleaner. All right, I'm going to start hooking things up. I don't anticipate that this is going to make much of a difference, if at all. I'm thinking to myself, I really should have just cleaned the whole thing out, did the carb kit. I should have, at the very least, done the accelerator pump. I didn't, and I'm kind of kicking myself for that. So thinking I should have done that. Well, that won't work. Where's my 1/2 inch wrench? So again, this is a process of doing a cleaning on some things that I saw some fellers talk about on the internet and in Jeep forums. And then also the nutter bypass or litmus configuration, as I will call it. There was only about 3 vacuum lines that I had to take off from my light. And I kind of need 2 fingers to get in there. And the fact that this carburetor is dirty really aggravates me. I see a lot of folks do is just switch to a different carburetor than this Carter one. They just get tired of monkeying with it, and that's kind of where I am at. I kind of want to get this thing out on the road. You smell what I'm stepping in? Well, this rascal didn't want to go on there. So we're going to try what we did. If it doesn't work, we're going to do the nutter bypass litmus configuration. Call it what it is. That doesn't work. I think we're going to have to blow some coin on a different carburetor. Seven 16ths wrench. Whatever in Sam Hill I did with that thing. Not seeing it. Well, we can get some of these doodads hooked up meanwhile. Okay, that's good. Oh, get up here. Don't let me forget to adjust that clutch. Huh. Take a look at this. This is different. This butterfly here was not closed like that before we started dinking around. So this might actually start a lot easier. That's encouraging. That is encouraging. All right, I'm going to finish buttoning this thing up, and then we'll do another cold start, and hopefully she will cooperate. And if not, we throw a temper tantrum, do the limits configuration, and see where we go from there. Hold on. Right, she's all buttoned up. I'm going to use my lisp of vacuum lines. So all the vacuum lines are hooked up, all the power lines are hooked up, fuel line is hooked up. I poured just a tick of fuel down the gullet there. Double checking here. Okay, we'll start cranking. It'll take a while because there's no fuel in the bowl. That's the fuel I had in the bowl. That opened up just a tick. It's a little wet in there. Got that hooked up. Yep, everything's hooked up. We're going to give her. Prime it.
Slow on the draw there, Slick.
business where you got to hold this butterfly shut. The choke is not working. I'm absolutely convinced of that. And it's got rivets. So you can't unscrew it, take it off, replace it. Idling high. I've got the two mixture screws underneath. I think they were out close to 4 turns. I turned them all the way in, and when I was setting it, it went out 2 turns. So I don't know. Well, I'm going to turn those idle mix screws out some because it won't idle tall. There's another half of a turn. Let's see what the blazes I'm doing. All right, let's try it now. We'll do it live. Okay, got them turned out. Well, I'm at 2. I'm going to go out. Two and a half turns. Yeah, another 1/2 of a turn. They smoothed out a little bit. Let's try and time it a little bit. I don't know. Idling about 10.5, a little high. Still kind of surging and still kind of might be a little happier than it was, but not much. I know. Well, I'll take it out and drive it a little bit. Well, I barely got it backed out and turned around and come back, and it's just has no acceleration. The accelerator pump doesn't seem to be working, but I don't know if that's a different adjustment in there. If I need to turn up the those idle mix screws again a little bit more. Smells like it's running rich. I'm gonna let it cool down. I'm gonna pull the plugs and see what they look like. They should be able to tell me a little bit of a tale, but oil pressure was down, and I don't know if that's because it's not running right. I also need to go get a timing light because this thing needs to be timed. That would help it quite a bit. And then we'll go to the litmus configuration, see if that does it. The nutter bypass is not a permanent deal if you don't want it to be. So I've got nothing to lose to try it. So I'm going to get all the equipment I need for that, and hopefully a timing light and some other things, and we will see. So we'll be back.